Welcome into a Friday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live here on this Friday edition. Make sure and like, share, comment on the YouTube post. We appreciate you being there. We're also live on Twitter, so if you want to hit us up on Twitter as well, give us a retweet.
The title ever evolving. Title's evolving on Twitter.
Trying to get the title better.
We will talk to Josh Pate from Late Kick. With Josh Pate. We'll catch up with him. It's been a minute since we talked to Josh. Lots to catch up on. Obviously, SEC meetings wrapping up today. It's the annual Athletic Directors Conference with the athletic directors from the SEC. Ross Dellinger and crew down there covered it from SI standpoint. We will talk to Josh Pate coming up here at 8 a.m. this morning. We'll also talk to Nathan Velasquez. No Foodie Friday for you here this week, as a little bit of a transition for Ivers teams as they're moving from their Perkins Road location a little further down Perkins Road to the Perkins Crossing Shopping Center, which you can stop in today and check out all of the selections in the new space. They'll be offering up lunch. A lot of cool things coming up from Ivers teams, which we will catch you up on. Obviously, when we resume Foodie Friday next week, we'll be off this week. So
I was really looking forward to some meat today. Damn it!
Sorry about that.
Big Meat Friday.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's still some sausage in the fridge from last Friday.
Really?
Yes, and I actually pulled those out yesterday and asked Jacob and Jamil if it would be weird if I heated one out.
I usually don't go over like a week. You know what I mean? Like 5 days. But I mean, Katie, that's up to you.
I would have been. We're all
I
good.
know you would have been. I was like, can I heat these wieners?
Unless it's Thanksgiving food.
I didn't do it.
Thanksgiving food, I'll keep eating.
Thanksgiving food, yeah, I guess so. 3 days,
different.
72 hours, 3 days.
Best thing
Unless you freeze it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Best holiday to get for relief med, Thanksgiving?
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
So.
Just to numb yourself from the holiday with your family.
Yeah.
Check out and not hear the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see about the plate.
Oh.
Because their side effect is being hungry.
Yeah.
I would say
y'all have some issues at Thanksgiving.
I would say post plate.
Yeah.
The turkey sandwich on
Well, that's when you
white
out
bread
yourself.
with
You start
mayonnaise.
making the sandwich.
Yes.
You're like stuffing on there. Like, what are you doing?
Why do
Put a
you
piece
care?
of pie on there.
Are you high? Absolutely. Yes.
Are you
Really?
high?
Yes, and I'm the Giants +4.
Speaking of that, NBA Game 1 finals last night. How about them Celtics, brah? Roll into Golden
lost
State.
my bet.
First championship game, first finals game in San Francisco as last night. They tipped it off in the Chase Center. Steph Curry went absolutely berserk. He was 7 of 8 in the first quarter. The only shot he missed was a half quarter that rimmed out
First to
on
20.
the run.
Wait, I thought it was first to 15.
No, they had first to 20. Better odds. Let's ride the wagon.
Yeah.
So-
I
Degenerate
just bet the money
every
on
time.
And
Ooh,
lost.
that's my fault. I feel like.
No, I thought they were going to win.
I
It was
did
the last
too.
12 minutes that changed everything.
Boston?
It was ridiculous. No, I thought Golden State was
Right.
going to win.
No,
My
the
bad.
last 12 minutes for Boston is what changed
Yeah,
it.
yes.
Al
That's
Horford.
Crazy.
That's a statement.
He's good.
To go into that's when if you've seen the way that Golden State has played this year, the second half is when they put the nail in the coffin, and Boston strong, Boston tough.
First loss for Golden State at home in this postseason run. Al Horford last night raining threes down in his 36-year-old
many
body last
threes.
night. I mean, this
What the
guy, bro.
hell?
Oh, Al Horford has the ugliest shot. Like every
does.
time he shoots, I'm like, oh my God. And it goes in.
Yeah, who cares?
141 postseason games Horford had played in before he had ever played in an NBA Finals. Last night was his first Finals appearance, and he finished with 26 points and put on a shooting barrage, a display, almost a clinic in the fourth quarter. But everybody around Boston picked up their play. We mentioned Horford. Al Horford, Derek White, and Marcus Smart all combined for 15 three-pointers last night. If those three are playing like that, even Tatum was the most. I mean, he had a down night. He didn't do anything from an offensive standpoint. In fact, he kind of kicked it around a little bit with some turnovers. But, I mean, the way that Boston withstood, I mean, for as much as I know Draymond pointed out last night in the postgame that Golden State's all right because he doesn't believe that Derek White, Al Horford, Marcus Smart are going to shoot it like that consistently. But you know that Jason Tatum's going to pick up his game at some point. I would almost say the same thing for Golden State. I mean, you got just about everything you could from Steph.
Yeah.
Like, Steph played as good as he probably can play. I mean, like we said, he came out in the first quarter. He had 21 points in the first quarter.
Played out the shoes.
And, I mean, like,
Yeah,
you
I know, that was
knew
funny.
early on. Like, I mean, he missed that first three. They got it right back to him. He triggered another one and didn't even hit the rim. And the next couple of times down, I mean, you were thinking, he's about to go unconscious tonight. Like, he had obviously heard the no MVP final talk. He had heard about what was going on with all the discussions around, him in the finals. And he came out ready to play, man. I think the best part about Steph's game now is his ability to get to the rim. Like, for whatever he's made,
He did the pregame shot in the game.
Yeah.
That shot on how he got to the rack at his size and his age, really. I mean, I think Steph's about to hit this part of his career. LeBron.
Reality.
LeBron, in the sense where you see this extended prime, right? Like, when LeBron was 34, everybody was like,
It's over.
Yeah, well, I mean, or at least these are the last of the days when you'll see him jumping like this.
I'll never
and
see him
making
in the
shots
finals
like this.
again, yeah.
And he's 38 years old. And he's still playing like, I mean,
Touching
almost
God when he
Chris
jumps.
Paul.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Paul has seen an extension of his prime. To me, Steph Curry last night announced that he's going to be here for another 5 years.
He
I mean,
won
it
the
just
game.
feels like he would have won the game.
34 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. He was the star.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how much better you can get
Yeah.
from him. Like, as much as Draymond's trying to sell, that'll never happen again with Boston. If you can't win when Steph plays like that, you've got to be a little concerned, right?
You feel like you wasted one.
Yeah.
Because unless, like you said, unless Steph continues to go nuclear, but what does he average in the finals before this? 25 points a game? Like, he's never been the superstar that you expect. Like, whenever LeBron was in the finals, you saw 35 a game, 50. Like, you had one of those hallmark nights where, like, all right, we know what we're getting from Bron. Steph has to be in that mode, it feels like now, because he's never had – Klay Thompson's a shell of himself. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like you don't know what you're getting from him. Back at if you rewind 5 years ago, you're like, all right, Klay's going to get 30. Steph can kind of wiggle around and get you 21 and it'll be okay. They had KD. Like, he's never really had to be the guy. And now this is his time to, like, the all-time legacy series for Steph.
Absolutely. And Draymond has...
Well, he can't shoot.
Offensively, he's killing you.
He's dead.
He's killing you offensively.
He's a cone.
When did that happen?
I don't know.
Because he used to be like somebody you had to worry about shooting a three, and now it's like, please take it. Every time.
He looks
Take all the
uncomfortable
space.
when he shoots it. Like, he looks like...
Yep.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's almost like he's overthinking and he doesn't want it. Like, he's like...
His misses are as bad as you can miss shooting a basketball.
The best defense you can run at him right now is run away from him.
Yes.
Like, leave him open.
Side of
Let
the
him shoot.
backboard type shots.
Which is, coach, hard to do.
Yeah.
And you're just, after you do one,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Stop shooting.
Yeah,
Get the
absolutely.
ball in my hands.
Especially on that stage.
Oh,
Listen how weird
kick it to
this is.
Jamil.
That was the second most made threes in an NBA Finals game in league history, but the record is owned by the Cavaliers, which was also done against the Warriors.
Wow.
I remember that
2017.
game.
Is that Kyrie?
2017.
No, like just team-wise, they went absolutely ballistic.
They had come in, like, early on in that game. You thought it was going to be like a historic night. I think that the amount of threes from Steph in the first quarter broke Michael Jordan's 1992 Blazers game when he looks at Magic and kind of gives the shoulder shrug when he couldn't miss. I know
What a feeling.
Warriors Celtics combined last night for 23s in the first half. I mean, it was a clinic.
Crazy. It was.
And then in the fourth quarter, Al Horford. I mean, Al Horford, bro.
Out of
He
everybody,
played on
that's-
like that Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer, Florida National Championship squad. That's how old Al Horford is. Today is his 36th birthday.
That's nuts.
I mean, and last night was his first finals game. His dad, small fact, Tito, started his basketball career at LSU. Transferred out. Yep.
Wow.
Tito Horford.
Tito Horford.
Probably
Great
a
name.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A dude.
He can help you.
Got a little
Call
something
Tito.
for you.
Call
Everybody's
Tito.
running.
No doubt about it.
Tito's coming.
But it was, I mean, the shooting that Al Horford, I mean, like, he didn't hit the rim.
Where is this coming from?
I don't know, man.
This is
Because
Al
he's
Horford.
totally changed his game. I mean, Al Horford was a back to the basket, like, short corner, jump shooter that would defend. That's how he made his way into the NBA.
Dirty work.
And over the last 3 years, he has changed his game to become one of these extended big mans that you have to guard behind the three-point line. And, like, you have to throw, like, defensive looks and schemes at him behind the three-point line because not only was, like, he making the shots last night, he wasn't even thinking about it when he was catching it. I mean, after he made the third one, I get it. But, I mean, like, the first couple that he squared up on last night, like, it was like Steph. I mean, like, it was like he was like in a ready position, ready to catch and shoot.
Shooter.
Yes. And, I mean, it is just it's amazing to see these older guys still have impacts on this young man's game, especially, I mean, like, out there where you got, like, Jaylen Brown was balling last night. I mean, the young cats were flying all over the place for Boston, and Al Horford being the story of the game for Boston in Game 1. And what a
star turn.
Yeah.
What a statement.
He had one foot in the grave. Like, Al Horford was somebody
done.
you didn't have to worry about until you saw it kind of happen in the Miami series where he took over a game, and you're like, is Al Horford going to beat you? Like, you can't let Al Horford be the guy that beats you. And it turns out this might be who he is. Like, he's making an absolute run to get a title. He needs one.
Did you see Barstool put out a shirt that said Al Horford is good? That's all it says.
WHORE?
What? No.
Remember Daily, we're brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group, our friends over at Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions from our friends over there. Jason Ramazan and Charlie Harpy. Stop in and see them today over at Metropolitan Health Group. And as always, we are brought to you by Johnson & Spillers, our dentist here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Stop in and see them. Prepara Avenue out in Gonzales. And you can also stop in and see them here in Baton Rouge. Anything, general dentistry, pediatric dentistry, anything that you may need from a dentist standpoint, stop in and see our friends, Dr. Chad Spillers and Dr. Johnson over at Johnson Spillers Dentistry online, johnsonspillers.com. Big news for LSU baseball yesterday. Their mashers, Dylan Cruz and Jacob Berry, were named to an All-American squad. Sophomore center fielder Dylan Cruz was named to Collegiate Baseball's newspaper's first team All-American squad, while sophomore third baseman Jacob Berry received second team honors yesterday. Of course, Cruz, the co-SEC player of the year after he batted .345 this season with 21 home runs, led the league as Cruz had a fantastic season, and really here towards the end of it has really been playing well. Berry, of course, is on the mend right now as he's trying to get back to the field here, and around some of the reports, he might be available here for regional weekend. LSU starting off today over in Hattiesburg. They will be a part of that regional. Jacques Doucet of WAFB is down there covering it for WAFB. We're trying to link up with him before we get out of here at 9 a.m. to get a little preview before the 6 o'clock first pitch this afternoon. Have they named a pitcher? Yeah.
No, Jay Johnson before the start, he said, "Look, don't expect an announcement except for 90 minutes before the game. Let me do my thing. Like, this is. I'm sorry." He knows that it's not probably because the media has been asking it's been getting to the point where you have to announce a starter, whatever. It's like, no, I don't. Like, I'm gonna do it this way because he's trying to find, a guy. And you've seen the way he's managed the pitching staff, where you could pitch an inning and it'll take you out.
Yeah.
So he's just going to do it his way and manage the pitching staff the way that he thinks is the most effective. And I think he's kind of earned that to this point. So if it works, it works. And you're not going to get any flack from the Baton Rouge media if you're winning. So you can do it that way. And I think Barry might be close to 100%.
I agree.
I think he's going to be able to hit on both sides of the plate, fingers feeling better. I think the big guy said that he was hitting tanks from the other side, so he might be back.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I've heard some
Ronnie Rance.
I've heard some really good stuff about him as far as his health goes.
Yeah.
And I think they targeted this date.
Perry Berry didn't raise no bitch.
Big news around the transfer portal yesterday in college baseball. Tommy Tanks, the top freshman in college baseball this year, Tommy White over at NC State, put his name into the transfer portal. Of course, Tommy Tanks was kind of the storyline of college baseball throughout a part of his freshman sensational season, as last year he's a masher, man. I mean, he's 6 foot, he weighs 245 pounds. He had 27 home runs in his freshman season. He had a 425 on base percentage, a 757 slugging percentage. I know, a lot of those numbers don't mean anything to you, but they're just really good, man. 32 games at designated hitter. He did play 13 games at first base. Look, LSU's done really good in the transfer portal. Jay Johnson has said out loud that he's going to put an emphasis on the transfer portal. I'd imagine that Tommy Tanks gets a call from LSU, but I'd imagine that everybody in the country is blowing up Tommy White right now.
I didn't even know his last name. He's just Tommy Tanks, which is all-time nickname.
Great nickname.
A Mississippi State freshman pitcher, Jack Walker, entered the portal too. He was the Gatorade Pitcher of the Year last year.
We'll take him.
Mm-hmm. Katie?
Freshman.
Get on the phone. This is your time.
Do some curtain, Katie.
NIL.
Speaking of NIL, we will talk NIL with Josh Pate coming up here from obviously Late Kick with Josh Pate. That airs on YouTube Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday night. Make sure and check that out, a part of 247 and CBS Sports. Looking forward to catching up with him and wrapping up some of these spring SEC meetings, spring football, some of the storylines going into the offseason around the Southeastern Conference and college football. Obviously, some of the new faces and new names that we'll like to talk to him about. His thoughts on Brian Kelly down here in Baton Rouge, and we get his thoughts on kind of the post-Saban Fisher Southeastern Conference, kind of back and forth between those guys, what it means for the lay of the league now, as expansions coming in, whether or not they'll go to an 8 or 9 game schedule, the competitive balance that will either be there or not in the SEC. Sam Pittman was given a $5 million contract. You're really starting to see a lot of these guys make all the money in college football. What does he foresee as the model of college football? I think everything's on the table right now. I saw Greg Sankey talk directly yesterday about NIL being governed by specific conferences, and I really believe that would probably be the best way to do it, rather than relying on state legislation, which we'll talk to Representative John Stefanski here in a couple of days when I believe they wrap up session today up at the state capitol, and the NIL bill, as we told you yesterday from Representative Connick down in New Orleans, was unanimously passed. I don't think they had one nay vote. I think it was a 32-0 vote on some of the changes for the NIL bill as far as it's legislated in the state of Louisiana, and it brings just Louisiana competitively up to speed with all of their competition. It gives the opportunity now for Brian Kelly, Jay Johnson, Kim Mulkey, Matt McMahon to pick up the phone and call a booster directly, and or someone, a business owner, not a booster, a business owner directly, and put a student athlete, put a player in touch with that business owner in purpose to strike a deal, and that's happening on other campuses, and LSU will now have they'll have the wherewithal to make that happen, and that'll bring them up from a competitive standpoint. But as far as the overall picture of NIL and how it's going to be governed, I believe that would probably be, I would say that is the best way to govern name, image, and likeness is by the conference. That way you don't have to worry about all of this stuff every year in state legislature being lobbied and legislated to keep up with the competitive part of college football. Just let the SEC office say, hey, look, this is the rules that everybody are going to play by in NIL, and whatever they are, right? Like, I mean, you write the bylaws however you see fit, but in my opinion, a league sweeping mandate or a league sweeping rule would limit a lot of the stuff that Greg Sankey had to talk about this week that you could tell he was very annoyed by, having to answer questions about Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban and even though he had a pretty standard capped answer on, look, that's in the past, and it's time to move forward, and we're worried about things that are going to affect the game. You still got to answer them, right? Like, and it's things that are happening that Sankey feels a little out of control on. There's not enough. There's nothing that's going to happen from a Congress standpoint. It feels like up in Washington D.C., at least from this regime. I mean, there would almost have to be a turnover in politics up there in Washington before anything could really get done. So you're looking at a couple of years before this happened. And as we said earlier this week, and I expect they do, because I'm not sure how close any type of answers are to being had around NIL. And if the rules still exist like they are now, well, I mean, you're going to see a switch, a balance kind of start to turn in competitiveness. I don't think that Alabama will be as dominant in recruiting as they consistently have been under Nick Saban, because if the rules exist like they do now, Texas A&M is going to continue to clean up.
Yeah,
like that's not changing. If anything, I would imagine that the comments that Saban made last week probably poured more gas on the fire, or more money into the collective, in saying, hey, until they regulate us, until they regulate this, let's go 100 miles an hour. And I don't see any change on the horizon anytime soon, other than this. Other than if people can agree on, hey, just let the conferences figure it out. And let the presidents of these conferences, Greg Sankey, in my opinion, is the most powerful person in sports right now, in collegiate sports. Everybody's following his lead. When he speaks, everybody pauses and listens. So maybe he's the guy that can step up and say, we're just going to get this thing done. And governing it conference by conference, because, I mean, the whole power, or at least the majority of the power of college football, all resides right in this part of the country. So either people are going to follow suit, or they're going to have to play along. Because college football doesn't exist without the 16 teams of the Southeastern Conference. And I'm including Texas and Oklahoma into that number already, because it feels like they're already a part of the family. Or at least when Sankey is speaking into the public, he's speaking with the power and the negotiating chips of, we got Texas, Oklahoma too.
It's a massive win for the SEC.
Oh, it's huge, man. I mean, the rich
get richer,
more wealthy. I mean,
Jimbo.
it is.
Doug Dimmadome.
Yeah, I mean, all of them. I mean, these games.
Walter.
I mean, you know how many eyeballs are going to be on that October 8th Texas A&M Alabama game?
I want to be there in person.
I mean, that'll be AFC.
Rose said he'll be in the building.
That'll be
He will.
AFC,
Might have
NFC
to holler at
championship
I know.
type numbers. You know what I mean? It won't be super, but it'll be. I mean, it'll be like high stake playoff game type numbers. CBS will put that thing at 7:00 at night, and it'll be must watch appointment television.
You think Nick will circle Jimbo like he did less?
I think Nick's kind of walking back a little bit,
Yeah.
because he understands that. Do we really want to go into what happens in recruiting? And if you want to don't check my history. Like don't read the receipts.
Jimbo made that real clear.
You absolutely.
And I was waiting for the rest of it to come out, but dang it.
That's why I think you see Nick walking everything back. But he's like, whoa. I've
got a lot of skeletons in that closet.
absolutely.
Yes.
Well, I don't even think it's that. Because I think at this point, everybody understands how grimy of a sport college football is.
But it might be worse
And for the
than
people
we
at
think.
the
I said
top,
it was
but
worse.
for the people at the top, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Like for people that have won at a consistent level, like Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, these guys that have won consistently like that, Dabo Sweeney. You know what I mean?
Dabo Sweeney's brother.
Yeah, exactly. Dabo don't want you digging in his closet.
Not at all.
You know, just like Nick doesn't, right? I mean, and as close as Jimbo got to the edge in that press conference, he still knew while he was emotionally spent and pissed off, I can't really say what I want to say, because if I do, I open myself up.
Yeah, we're all going to jail together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
I'm burying myself.
We were all a bunch of bone collectors,
Yes.
and our graveyard is deep.
Serial killers.
Yes, exactly.
I wish he would have just given us one little bone, though.
I think it's probably like
The book's going to be great. The book is going to be fantastic.
At some point, if there's
Nick dies.
John Wayne
Who's
Gacy versus
there
Ted
gonna put that out
Bundy.
who you got.
Ted.
But if there's ever an actual tell-all, I feel like if you get the actual truth, we would be, even what we think we know, we would be shocked.
Yes, absolutely.
We'd be like, oh my God, you did what?
Yeah.
To get who?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what, and I think that's where Nick kind of was with Jimbo. He's like, look, I'm stopping, you stop, because
Yeah.
let's not.
Nobody wins here.
Yeah, let's not
Nobody
compare
wins.
rap sheets on this
Yeah.
deal. Because
Well, I mean, the thing that Jimbo has Saban by the balls on this is that Jimbo did his dirty work for 4 years.
That is right.
You know what I mean? I mean, he was his top assistant. He was his top offensive assistant. So he had to know the code to the playbook. He had to know what's the secrets.
Yes.
How do we go get these guys and everybody, Bobby Bowden and Steve Spurrier and all these guys that are at the top of the game are in these kids' living room, and that's what we have to compete with. How do we get these kids? And Saban, said, look,
the guy from Michigan State figured it out.
here's the cheat code.
Would
right?
Kiffin know as much as Jimbo knows?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the wild
But
card.
Kiffin knows too
but
much.
Kiffin knows I can't run my mouth. You know what I mean? Because if I do, they'll be coming out of the woodworks
Oh my
on my
God.
ass.
What did,
Yeah.
I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
remember
Like-
Lane Kiffin was at Tennessee, committed a recruiting violation on ESPN, on television,
Right.
and he was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
What did he do?
always
Name
trying
the
to
recruit?
win.
I didn't know.
Did he
what I
name
was
the
doing.
recruit before he
he had him on
signed?
the whiteboard. He's like, we got to get him. And he's like, love to have him. And like,
Was it
said
Tua?
his name? No, it was.
I think he had a couple of recruiting violations on Tua. I mean, where
I love Lane.
Me
Yeah,
too.
me too.
Me too.
At least it's above board. Like, you know what you're getting. Nick feels like buttoned up. Like
Right.
this is the
Nick wants you to believe, like he speaks of, like this weekend,
Class and
like this
integrity.
week. I hear him speaking about we've got to get back to an equal playing ground. Like, buddy, like who do you think you're talking to, man?
Where
mean,
you
like-
been?
going.
Your team has been in the college football playoff every year since it's existed.
This one.
I mean, like they missed one. It's the Alabama Invitational. Like, what is
It
what
is.
is a equal playing ground of? What is this equal playing ground you speak of? You want to go back to, right? I mean, like he gives you buzzwords like integrity and doing it the right way and equal playing ground and competitive balance and all of this stuff where people are, oh yeah. Nick said we need to get back to like
Parity.
where- yeah,
Yeah,
exactly
parity in
where he
college football.
knows.
He said it like
and I
5
agree with
times.
you. He knows that there's probably not change imminent on the horizon. Like it's probably coming in the next 3 years, but by next year it's probably not going to be done. And he can't beat Jimbo at this game.
He might be retired by
He
then.
can't beat Jimbo in the money game. Like, I mean, think about it. Shamar Stewart down in Miami. Miami's in NIL just like Texas A&M is. They got a billionaire behind them saying, name the price, whatever you want. I paid $800,000 for a basketball player. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think they're paying for?
Anybody can
what do you
get
think
it.
They're paying for Trevante Citizen,
Right.
You know what I mean? if they're paying $800K for a Big 12 basketball player, and I mean Texas A&M just swooped up and went and got Shamar Stewart, the number one defensive tackle, out of Coral Gables. You know what I mean? Out of South Florida, right? I mean they're putting money in front of people's faces that they cannot say no to.
And that's where Nick Saban is like, I should have Shamar Stewart. Like, if it's the
But he's,
equal
but
playing
he's saying,
field.
but he's saying I want Arch more than I want Shamar. You know what I mean? So like, and Texas A&M saying we want them all. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
And they
we're
can
gonna
get
take
'em all.
all of them.
There's no salary cap for A&M, and it feels like Alabama might be capped at some point, or at least Nick thinks that way, where it's like, I don't know, we can't compete in this field if
They
it's
can't.
that
It's
way.
Alabama.
And that was, to me, that was the message behind the message in the room that he was speaking to the boosters. He was trying to tell his heaviest of hitters, his deepest of pockets, fellas, people, if we don't start to move our money, if we don't start to think about this from a recruiting standpoint, we're going to get our ass kicked every year because Texas A&M just bought their entire class. Like, that's what he was trying to promote.
I'm
right?
jealous.
But for whatever reason, I guess he either lost sight or, I mean, he
was
started to
pissed.
crack a little
He was
bit. Yeah, he
pissed.
started to crack a little bit in the sense of he knows he can't win and he can't manipulate the rule to fit Alabama.
And this was his
You know what I
game,
mean?
and the rules changed, and now he doesn't know how to play it quite yet. Where does this fit in
Exactly.
for if it doesn't change for 3 years, like LSU feels like they're in the same boat as in Alabama.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be Texas A&M is obviously top of class. Texas is probably underneath that. And if USC gets their act together, they would be in that boat. Like you might see Miami, like a shifting of the powers back to blue bloods of college football. But you haven't heard from in a while.
Yeah, and I think that LSU's established their name as a blue blood of college football.
But I don't think they can compete in the same vein that Alabama can't compete if it's the A&Ms of the world.
They cannot. They cannot compete in this game with Texas A&M. They cannot compete in this game with Texas. They cannot compete in this game right now with Alabama. I think that there is a huge emphasis behind the scenes around LSU football to get an act together as far as being able to at least pitch this message, right? That there is a collective in place, that there's opportunities in place. I think that you're going to win more recruiting battles for a school like LSU with just a plan for some of these kids, right? Like just that you have a plan that's going to give them an opportunity to make money on their name, image, and likeness. For some of them could be enough to push it over the top, right? Like you don't need the private jets flying you to every road game with the parents. You're not going to be able to get that type of stuff from LSU like Texas A&M and Texas can offer just because they've got a booster rap sheet. They've got a booster, not rap sheet, but a booster roster sheet that just goes
it's Texas money.
Many more chapters deeper than LSU's can go. You can pick up the phone and dial, 300 phone numbers and get, over seven figures of donations. And LSU's, roster list of people that care, that have that money, that want to contribute to LSU football, just they don't exist as deep as other schools have it right now. And one of the things, in my opinion, that the collective and that LSU has to really figure out is the same people that Justin Vincent calls on every day at the Tiger Athletic Foundation, that he's got really good relationships with, that he plays golf with throughout the year and makes his visits at their, charitable events to get their money, to get their donations to LSU athletics. Those people in return get TAF points, right? Like once you cut that check, you get a benefit to LSU.
I want to be on the field,
right? Like you get a gold jacket, you get to go to the spring game. You get to go the purple jacket, right?
Yes.
I mean, you get to go to the Saturday morning scrimmages in Tiger Stadium. Or this used to be the deal. I don't know what the deal is with Brian Kelly, but there are perks to your donation level of supporting the program, right? If you're donating to the collective, and you're donating to the NIL bucket, there's nothing that really comes back to you in return. And I'm not saying that all of these people are looking for any type of glory. Not everybody's doing it for, like Gordon. Gordon wants you to know he's an NIL, right? But they're all, every single one of them, even the people that want to stay silent and don't want you to know that they're a part of the collective, still want the tax write-off.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they still want the ability to make money off of their money. They're not necessarily looking for a signed football from Brian Kelly, or they're not looking for a guided tour around the facility on game day. That stuff doesn't really get them going. They just want to make sure that they can get their money right.
That's money.
Right.
You don't want any recognition. You don't want any perks from it.
That's the money I want.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's the type of money I
deep
want.
money.
That's the money I want.
Deep money.
I don't even care.
You don't need any recognition.
Just give Kayshawn $1 million.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ours looks great out there, doesn't it?
You're welcome.
Not even that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but it's somebody. 6 cocktails in after a Saturday night, you're like, hey, I feel
Lloyd,
good
I have to
about
tell
the
you
win.
something.
Yes.
I'm the reason Arch is here.
Somebody would spill the beans, but
Don't our foreheads match?
long money. but don't you feel like you have to do it for the love of the school. Like you have to love your university so much.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And if that's
what I'm saying, that Texas A&M, they're psychotic about this.
Yeah,
they're psychotic about it.
I would say LSU is there too. Like the people that love LSU are, the fan base is probably the most rabid of them all. Now they might not have the money part of it, but somebody does.
I mean,
they don't want to see LSU fail.
Let's just use an
they don't.
example. right? And he may get mad at me for doing this, but I think everybody thinks of his name when this comes up. Brandon Landry, right? Brandon Landry is a multimillionaire, right? Like his kids are they've got their lives taken care of. He's got enough money where ancillarily he could probably fund an NIL deal. Like, you know what I mean? He could probably put up the money and at least be kind of the foundation of a competitive start to the collective. And he may be, I don't know. And he loves LSU. He's from Baton Rouge. He's from this area. He's from South Louisiana. He's from, right over the river in White Castle, Plaquemine. And his business is built around the success of LSU athletics.
It has to work.
Right? I mean,
ain't nobody going to walk on Saturday night if LSU's 4-6.
He doesn't necessarily need the recognition. He supports LSU, right? Like, I mean, you would never doubt that Brandon Landry had LSU's best interest in mind on anything that he was doing. But what's the benefit for Brandon Landry being a part of the collective? Like, that's the stuff that I don't know. And I don't know who's having those conversations with people like Landry or, Todd Graves, obviously.
Yeah, the long money.
But I'm thinking of I'm trying to remember Mr. Richard Lipsey's daughter. Is it Laura Lipsey?
Lori
Lipsey, who is, she's
single,
got a ton of wealth.
This guy.
There are a million Richard Lipseys in Texas, not a million,
exactly.
but many more of them in Texas
we got
than
one.
there are here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the difference. Texas money is different.
It is.
Yeah,
it absolutely
Texas
is.
You're just not
is
fighting
different.
it.
It absolutely is.
And
That's the mountain you have to climb.
And that's when you, it may be foolish to think, but that's when you have to kind of hope that a little bit of, state pride wanting to play for the school has to play a factor at some point. Like, the old school recruiting still has to matter. You still have to sell it, But
that's what I'm saying. I believe that you can win a lot of these wars.
Here.
I think that if they would have gone to Jacoby Matthews with just a plan. Look what it took to get Danny Lewis. Look what it took to get Danny Lewis. Got a $25,000 NIL deal from Alabama just because Alabama could. Really, I'm telling you, Saban went in and took Danny Lewis under Brian Kelly's nose because he saw
they needed it.
Brian Kelly's dancing with him on the internet. He really is selling to Danny Lewis, bro. We got to have you,
You're a day one starter.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you could be. You could possibly be a day one starter here. That's how wide open this position is. Danny Lewis grew up wanting to go to LSU. He grew up in Opelousas, New Iberia. I mean, which is go drive down Main Street in New Iberia. They're flying LSU flags all along that highway. And Saban comes in the last minute and says, "Hey, just because we can, send a message to Brian Kelly that we still can come into your state and take players out from under your nose, including players that you need." And LSU had no response to that. I mean, if they'd have gone back to Danny Lewis and said, "Danny, here's $10K, and once you show up and you do the deliverables that you need to perform to get this $10,000, we'll talk about what could be next. But we need you at LSU, so just take this, right? Like, are you good with this? We can't give you 25 off the top, but we got 10 collected for you right now that if you come in, we'll talk about business deals into the future." I'd imagine that Danny Lewis would have had something to think about. Jacoby Matthews. I mean, the deal that Jacoby Matthews was presented with, you can't compete with. You know what I mean? You're not saying, "Hey, Jacoby, there's going to be a private jet for your family waiting at the Ponchatoula Airport." You know what I mean?
Friday
to fly
night.
you to either the home games or away games every week, and here's a stipend for your parents so you don't have to worry about sending money back home. I mean, if LSU rolls into Jacoby's living room after that and says, "Okay, look, I know what A&M offered. Here's what we're prepared to offer you in the sense of, or here's the opportunities that we believe we can make happen for you. You can be a pitch man for Gordon McKernan. We'll make sure that you have a food deal set up where your parents are fed every time they come in. They come in, you got restaurant, you got a table for 4 at this restaurant every week. They're picking up the meal." To me, you're back in the discussion. Right? It's not, you can't offer private jets and 6-figure deals, but
You also don't have to.
you don't have to because of what you just said. You still have the opportunity to win some of these recruiting wars on the love of the game, right? And like I said, I mean, Denver Harris and all, they wanted to go to LSU from the time they were little, Danny Lewis. But LSU just didn't have anything to come behind and say, hey, look, when they call and say, Alabama offered this, LSU's like, we need a tight end. You know what I mean? Like, they got playing time. And it's just, it's different in the sense of the messaging these days. And I think, LSU needs to form their message.
I mean, didn't Tack say Jimbo walked into his house and said, "We have no shot"?
They said no shot.
No shot. And guess where he is? Yeah. Under Jimbo's wing.
Daily, we're brought to you by our friends over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. Remember our friends over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. End of the week, which means we have gone through all of our meals over here. All of our pre-made meals done by Fresh Chef Kitchen over the crew, Shane and his crew over at Fresh Chef Kitchen. You can find them on Airline Highway. You can find them online at freshchefeats.com. Chef-prepared meals for everyone. Pre-order your meals or visit the store over on Airline or purchase it online at freshchefeats.com. They can help you reach new heights during this season as far as your health goals are concerned. If you're looking to eat healthy every single day, but you don't even know where to start, I know that's where I was, man. I'd love to eat healthy. I'd love to cook healthy. I just don't know how to do it. I mean, it feels like
too much work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, man. I mean, you just add a little dash of this. Next thing you know, I mean, it's not healthy anymore, right? I mean, over at Fresh Chef Eats, they take all that.
Put butter in it.
They talk all of that off of your conscience. They're preparing the meals for you. They're dropped off at the beginning of the week, or you can have the drop off whenever you're ready. If you're looking to eat healthy on the weekend, or if you're looking healthy to eat healthy during the weeks, let Fresh Chef Eats help you out with that schedule. They can lay it out for you, make it really simple, easy to get in touch with them right now. If you want to stop in and see them, they're on Airline Highway, 14111, 14111 Airline Highway is where they're located if you want to go visit the storefront. Or online at freshchefeats.com, freshchefeats.com. We'll talk more about the college football stuff coming up here with our friend Josh Pate from Late Kick Josh, as he'll stop by and give us some of his thoughts on the SEC meetings wrapping up, some of the competitive balances switching throughout college football. Will we see a return of schools like Southern California and University of Miami now with the NIL and Texas being so prevalent within recruiting and in college football? And then the Jimbo Nick fallout. And Brian Kelly, year one. What's Josh Pate expect from LSU going into the first season under Coach Kelly? Lots to talk about. That'll be about 12 minutes from now. You got a question for Pate? Jump inside of the chat app. Just drop it there. We're on Twitter, as always, streaming. So if you want to check us out on that social media platform, give us a retweet and a like over there if you don't mind. And if you're on YouTube and you have not subscribed to the Jordy Culotta Show, hit that subscription button. Make sure you hit that bell. Be alerted when the content goes live. We'll be back, close out hour one, and get into hour two here. Josh Pate coming up 8 a.m. Nathan Velasquez will stop by, talk the success of Top Gun Maverick coming up here at 8:30 this morning. Lots to get to with Velasquez.
I might go see it again.
We're going to go see it this weekend.
I might go see it again.
We're going to go see it this
Really?
weekend.
Again? At the movies?
It's just so much fun.
Wow.
It's such an experience.
8:30 this morning, Nathan Velasquez coming up. Jordy Culotta Show, off and rolling. Go Chevrolet.
Ooh, Odell posting about Jarvis.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mike. Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We're having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Southern Eye Center is located at 6859.
Looking to book a dumpster but no idea how? We've made it quick and easy for you. Check out our website at moralesrolloffs.com. Let Morales Roll-Offs know your desired delivery date, and finally, provide your contact details. To make payment, look out for an email invoice with all your booking details. On delivery day, our driver will notify you through text and email that your dumpster is ready and on the way. Now you know how easy and convenient it is. Call Morales Roll-Offs at 225-427-0000 for your dumpster.
Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by Hebert's Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, Hebert's Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. Hebert's can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. Hebert's Lawn Maintenance.
True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU bluewater.com.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. We will talk to Josh Pate at some point here. We're having a little technical difficulties with our phone. Let's go to the video as we will head over to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. LSU getting ready for Game 1 of that regional this afternoon between Kennesaw State and the Tigers. Remember, before we get there, we are brought to you daily by our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Get in touch with our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. You can call them easily, as we said. No social media, no website. Easy to get in touch with them. All you got to do is dial the number 225-776-2431. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show and receive 15% off of your service from Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Number 1 and the number 2 business over with Barker Brothers. They have experienced carpenters and plumbers on staff, which can help you with an industrial or a residential remodel of any kind. They cover greater Baton Rouge area. They got 2 trucks over here every day. Call them. 225-776-2431. All of your plumbing problems. Get in touch with Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works and mention the Jordy Culotta Show to save a 15% discount. Let's go to Hattiesburg. Jacques Doucet, who is anchoring the coverage for WAFB. He is over there and looking spry here on this Friday morning as he has been out and checked out the locals over in Hattiesburg. It's good to catch up with you, JD. Good morning. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
We can't hear Jacques.
He's readjusting.
Right, we can't hear him.
No headphones. No headphones for John Collins.
Let's go back here. Take a quick break. Lloyd is in. We're going to get our sound here. We'll be right back here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
He's bumping.
Wait, he's
I can hear.
All right, let's get back to it. Let's head over to Hattiesburg as Jacques Doucet is anchoring the coverage for WAFB. Remember, they are first pitch over there this afternoon, 6:30 from Hattiesburg. Jacques, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Jordy, great to be with you, man. What's happening?
Absolutely, man. Tell me about Hattiesburg. Of course, a small college town. Do they have any idea of the purple and gold wave that is about to crash into their city? Let's get back to it. Let's head over to Hattiesburg as Jacques Doucet is anchoring the coverage for WAFB.
I want to give them credit, first of all.
Remember, they are first pitch.
They've had 6 straight 40-win seasons. They've made the NCAA tournament 6 straight times, and this is their second time hosting a regional since 2017. So they've built quite a baseball program here, and they are sold out. All the tickets are gone. I'm getting different answers on what exactly is the capacity of the park. It's listed at 4,300. They had as many as 6,200 for a midweek game against Ole Miss. They're not expecting that many, they told me. I said, if LSU and Ole Miss play each other on Saturday night, you might get that and then some. So didn't see really any fans yesterday. Today will be interesting with Southern Miss playing Army and then LSU getting the late game. But hopefully LSU and Southern Miss both win and we get that setting we're all looking for, that atmosphere we're all looking for on Saturday night, because I think it'll be a great time. It'll be gold everywhere for sure.
Jacques, I know the $1 million question is the pitching that LSU is going to start with. I know that Jay Johnson has played this pretty close to his vest. Do you have any idea which way they may be leaning for game one?
Well, Jordy, it's just been that way all year in terms of, it seems like Mikhail Hilliard has been the only guy that they can depend on and know, okay, we're going to get 5-6 innings out of this guy. And then the second and third spots have been a toss-up. Sometimes Samuel Dutton was good, sometimes he wasn't. Blake Money started the season well, then he faded. I would guess that, if you put a gun to my head, I'd rather try to get by Kennesaw State with Ty Floyd and then put Mikhail Hilliard out there on Saturday night in a sold-out setting against a Southern Miss team that's very good. Southern Miss today is starting Tanner Hall, a kid from Zachary, Louisiana, who 8-2 record, 2.6 ERA. I think he's got 130 strikeouts and 93 innings. They're pitching him today, and I was like, wow, they're not saving him for LSU if they win. And somebody told me it doesn't matter. They've got like 6 arms that they can throw. Southern Miss, they're that good in the pitching. So, and as of recently, Coach Johnson has said, I'm not naming a starting pitcher until 90 minutes before the game. So I would expect that to stay the same today.
What is the latest on Jacob Berry?
Jordy, Jacob Berry batted left-handed at practice yesterday, batted right-handed, took some ground balls at third base. And, look, the guy's in pain to an extent. And he said, look, myself and Cade Doty also batted yesterday, played second base with that shoulder. He said, look, everyone is not 100% this time of year, and that's just the way it is. I asked him what percentage he is. He said, I can't tell you what percentage I am. I'm just going to go out there and do my best. So he and Cade Doty, they both rested them throughout the SEC tournament to get to this point, the most important part of the season for LSU. This is where this is where you define your season, right? Did they go to Omaha or not? Did they make a super regional or not? So he looks good. He was out there swinging and swinging left-handed. So they plan that both Cade Doty and Jacob Berry can help today. Jay Johnson even said that Cade Doty's shoulder injury helps to an extent when you're batting because it kind of shortens your swing and makes you more concise because of the pain. You're getting to the ball as quickly as you can.
Jacques, you've covered this story program in a lot of these settings, in these regional and postseason settings, but LSU has never taken this route to Omaha. They've never done it away from the box. How do you feel about this crew going into this weekend under this first-year head coach in Jay Johnson? There's a lot of first and different things around LSU on this particular run. What is your outlook, I guess, of this team at this part of the season?
Yeah, Jordy, it'd be history making. In the modern era of college baseball in the super regional format, even Skip Bertman went 1-2. He lost at Alabama, he lost at Tulane, and they beat UCLA at home. And so, you'd have to go back over 30 years before the super regional format. The historic win at A&M when they were 55-5 or whatever in 1990, but. So they're looking to make some history. They did win a regional at Oregon last year. A lot of guys on this team were part of that, so that gives them some confidence. Jay Johnson said Monday, I like to do things that have never been done before. And so if you look at LSU too, and I know it's been brought up, but LSU won 4 of their 5 SEC road series this year. I know Mississippi State was down, but still to go to Starkville in that environment and win all 3 games, I know Vanderbilt is not the typical Vanderbilt, but LSU went there, won all 3 games, took 2 or 3 from a very good Florida team on the road. And, outside of that sweep that they suffered at Arkansas, LSU's been very good on the road during the season. The SEC tournament, they started well, and then they faded. So we'll see what happens. But the term road dogs keeps coming up with players. Road dogs this, road dogs that. So apparently people are calling them that. So and really, this trip is only 2.5 hours away. I've been on those trips to Los Angeles, and when you got to travel across the country. So this is a shorter trip. Even in the midweek game, they went to Ruston and played against Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, Jacques, and even like that stretch of I-12 in between Baton Rouge and Hattiesburg is littered with LSU fans. I mean, it's not just like the crew that would be coming from this city. I mean, I think that you're kind of scooping up a lot of the outlying LSU fans in between here and that location.
It's not just the K Lady and Chris Guillot, is what you're saying.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Induce the double play.
The K Lady is more surprising than anybody. She's seen it all. I mean, she's seen it all, bro.
Yeah. Jordy, they replayed Hold the Rope the other day. I mean, they're showing footage from 1985. K-Lady, Chris Guillot are there. So they've earned it. Believe me, I'm not making fun of them.
No doubt about
it.
No doubt about it.
I mean, I've had those games before. They were on TV, and, LSU playing a game at Tennessee where there's like 400 people in the stands, and you can hear Chris Guillot on the radio, and Eagle 98.1 or whatever.
Right. I think Guillot drove Ben McDonald to his first game, to his first start. So, Jacques, first-year head coach Jay Johnson, ups, downs, LSU job, maybe something. One of those things that you almost got to sit in the seat to realize just how hot it can get. What is your evaluation of him after one regular season in an SEC tournament?
I think he's the right man for the job. He's like this, and I told Brian Kelly that as well. You go to practice, Brian Kelly is like that the whole time, meaning, just a very measured, unemotional approach to the day-to-day operations, tackling what needs to be tackled. Jay Johnson is a baseball junkie. No one's going to work harder than Jay Johnson. I think he's doing about as well as he can with this year's team. There are some deficiencies in pitching, obviously. I think he'll address that in recruiting. I think he understands, the expectations of the job. I think he let's be honest, Jordy, the modern-day coach, too, has to be very careful in press conferences when he talks about the team for the quote-unquote throw the player under the bus, too. Sure. That is a new modern thing.
Sure.
That used to be coaches just say what's on their mind. Now they can't do that. I mean, it's a much more sensitive time, and I think he does that very well also. So, he's very friendly and approachable. But I think he definitely understands this as a business, and it'll be very interesting to see. I don't want anyone to be run off, but I definitely think that when the season's over, like Kim Mulkey with women's basketball, there will be some people that are addressed, and people will come and go, and he'll address the roster the way he likes to. But I'm on board with Jay Johnson.
You have seen the great ones come through the program over the last couple of years, the Nolas, the Bregmans, all these top 5 picks that have come through LSU baseball. How good is Dylan Cruz?
Yeah, Jordy, I think he's the next Bregman in terms of, they would say Bregman is just a maniac. Like they would go by Alec Box at midnight and the lights would be on and he'd be taking ground balls. I think Dylan Cruz has a very similar work ethic, although we're talking about an outfielder and not an infielder. But the way Jay Johnson has called him a once in a lifetime talent, generational talent. And I think very similar to Alex Bregman, he wasn't supposed to make it to college baseball, and LSU got fortunate in both cases. And so just a phenomenal hitter. Certainly the way that Vanderbilt series started. What did he go 6 for his first 6 at the plate? I think he got on the first 9 times. He had like 3 home runs and 7 RBI in his first 6 at bats. So, and just a real and just not a flashy, self-absorbed guy. He does those interviews. He's very polite and spreads around the love to his teammates and everything. So, he's in many ways, he's the next Bregman, in my opinion.
Jacques, the regional setting is always cool because you pull in different schools from all parts of the country and give you an opportunity to learn about some of these other schools. I know Jim Foster, the head coach at Army, is down there, and you had a chance to go back and forth and see his press conference. So you get an idea of these other teams and just some of their makeup as they look to advance here in Hattiesburg as well.
Well, we were talking in the press box yesterday, Army, those kids probably won't be hitting home runs in the majors or pitching on major league mounds, but they are the future of tomorrow. They are our true leaders. And the coach was talking about how some of the players are graduating to, I'm going to screw this up, second command colonels or they're graduating to a big military status on campus. I asked him what was what's the average day for an Army student athlete. They get up at 5:30 and they're tackling 7 classes. So basically they have 21 hours of schooling. I know there was plans where I was coasting, taking 12 hours, and dropping classes or whatever. These guys are taking 21 hours of credits. And basically every minute of their day is accounted for from 5:30 in the morning till they go to bed at night at 10 o'clock or whatever. And so it's just very, very impressive. I know Paul Maneri was big on bringing the military schools in, and they had all sorts of great standing ovations and really just acknowledge those guys for what they do for our country. So that was very cool to hear about them. And like I said, Southern Miss is a great program, and Kennesaw State, they're here to prove that they belong. We use that word scrappy when a team's not that talented, but look, they would like nothing better than to knock big bad LSU off their perch here to start things off.
We will be following all of the coverage today from WAFB. It's easy to do that by following our friend on Twitter at Jacques Doucet. I can't get you out of here without asking about the 35 minutes, 38 minutes that you sat down with Brian Kelly and what you took away from that conversation. It was a great sit down and chat with LSU's new head coach. It was a real good conversation to learn about a lot more than just football from Kelly. What did you take away from it as you ran that interview?
Yeah, Jordy, I don't like to I enjoyed covering the Les Miles era, had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed covering the Ed Ogeron era. Some people got the wrong idea that I had one tense moment with Ed Ogeron on a Zoom call last year. He was really the best coach I ever covered. I had a great time covering, and look, 2019, that'll be like your favorite album, kids from the 80s, like, the Michael Jackson Beat It album or Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. You can always go back and listen to it. It'll always be there for you. And so I enjoyed covering. Look, it just went off the rails the last couple of years. And so talking to Brian Kelly, the reaction I got from fans is, well, this is the most professional interview I've heard from a head coach since 2004. Yeah. This guy has a plan. He's got a vision. A few things that I took away from it. He keeps saying graduate champions. And at a football power like LSU, people will roll their eyes. Really, graduate champions, it's all about winning games, right? You're not going to keep your job by graduating players. But he really thinks that's important. And I think one line he said was, if they don't cut class, they probably won't jump off sides. And so that'll kind of tie, that all just kind of ties into be a responsible person, represent this school well. Another thing I talked to him about was just his day-to-day operations and how, I know sometimes me in the morning, you can get all jacked up on caffeine, say I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff today, and then you don't have a list of things to do. And another line he said was, he goes, I always say, don't mistake activity for achievement.
Absolutely.
And so that was another great line, in terms of have a plan on what you're doing. If we're just running around out here and not doing anything, we're not getting anything accomplished. So those were a couple of key things. I asked him about, facilities, what needs to be upgraded there. He said the medical, they don't have enough space really to rehab players and get players back up and running when they're injured. So that's the big thing they're tackling in terms of facilities. I think that he loves the layout of the football ops building, the indoor practice, the outdoor practice, Tiger Stadium down the street. He's high on that. And he also said, look, I didn't look to run off any players. We set a standard. We set a bar for them to meet. If they can't meet it, that's fine. They can go somewhere else. And we certainly saw the players that either were late for meetings or said, I ain't doing this, and they're no longer here. So I thought he was very personable. I thought, he's 60 years old, but he says he feels in great shape. And I think he's going to do the very best job he can with this roster. I think if they win 9 games, 10 games, I think that'd be a great debut for him because he did not inherit a great situation with the roster.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are a few things.
It was a great sit down. If you have not checked it out, make sure you get over to the WAFB YouTube page. You can follow it on. You can find it on Jacques' Twitter account for the sit down, the one-on-one with Brian Kelly, which is really cool conversation. Jacques, last one. What did you think of Saban and Jimbo?
Yeah. I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but I was told before I sat down with Brian Kelly, that was the one question. Please don't ask that. Pleplease don't ask about Nick Saban and Brian Kelly.
Right.
So,
welcome to the SEC.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I was Saban knows what he's doing. I've watched this guy for 22 years, right? At LSU and at Alabama. He's not going to just throw out a line, just like last year when he threw out, well, our quarterback just signed a $1 million NIL deal. He knew what he was doing there. And in this case, it used to be you could go to these meetings or these, these quarterback clubs or whatever, toss out red meat.
Sure.
And it wouldn't make the news.
Sure.
These days, everyone's got a cell phone. Everyone's, taking video. Everyone wants to go viral. So I think he understood that it would probably get out, and then he's backtracked. Hey, I shouldn't mention Deion Sanders, which I knew was going to have some racial, stuff to it after it came out, which it did to an extent. I mean, HBCUs are kind of making a comeback, and the Jimbo Fisher thing. I did think it was kind of unfortunate. Jimbo Fisher and Nick Saban obviously teamed up here at LSU, turned things around, won a national championship in 2003. I remember when Jimbo won his national championship at Florida State. Nick Saban was there on the ESPN set after the game and really proud of Jimbo. And so you kind of thought, they're not that far apart in age. I think Jimbo's knocking on 60, Saban's 70, but they did kind of have that father-son deal where Saban was very proud of what Jimbo was doing. So I thought it was unfortunate. I thought for people like me and you, we're going to eat this up. We're going to grab our popcorn. This is great for us. But in the grand scheme of things, I just kind of thought this was another case of NIL kind of damaging a sport that we all love so much. Because college football is my favorite. I love it more than any other sport. Yeah. But, I think very interesting game. Jimbo's got to march into the belly of the beast and go to Tuscaloosa this year. So that's going to be a interesting setting.
October 8th will be fireworks for sure in college football. Before we get you out of here, weather all good for the weekend outlook today?
He looks out the window.
It's drizzling outside right now, and so there's a 40 to 50% chance of rain. The good thing, Southern Miss has an all-turf field.
Nice.
There's no grass on the field, so they don't even, you don't have to bother with the tarp or anything, and shower passes, you're back on the field. So hopefully if there's any delays, they're quick ones. But, it's drizzling outside right now, so we'll see how it goes here today. And before you let me go, I am so proud to be the cheesy, rated G, traditional local sportscaster part of this new partnership with the Jordy Culotta Show in WAFB.
We would have it no other way because you are the cheesiest, my friend.
Fromage, as they say.
I love you, my friend. Have a great weekend. I'm looking forward to this, and we'll have big news next week that we will be partnering with together. Looking forward to it. Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. Appreciate you, man.
All right, buddy. There he is, Jacques, checking in from Hattiesburg this morning. That conversation brought to you by
Dead Soxy. If you're rallying the team or building an empire, you need socks. Everybody loves socks. Get your logo put on custom socks. Deadsoxy.com/custom. deadsoxy.com/custom. They do all the design work for you. If you don't know how to do it, they'll do it. 6 to 8 week lead time. The minimum order is 120 pairs. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show and you get $100 off.
Great write-up over at The Athletic by Ari Wasserman on Arch Manning and his recruitment. Over the next 3 weeks, Arch is going on 3 official visits. He will take his official to, I believe, Georgia, Alabama, and Texas, all coming up over the next 3 weeks. Spoke to his father, Cooper, 2 nights ago, and they are going to be on, Cooper is going to be on the Tuesday morning after they finish up these 3 official visits. He's going to come through on the Jordy Culotta Show and wrap up what the last couple of months and years have been like for Arch, and just how protected this has been. If you're looking for an inside look,
have hair on his nuts yet.
If you're looking for an inside look on the recruitment of Arch over at The Athletic, Ari Wasserman, as we said, has a great write-up, man. It has an in-depth look at just what the last couple of years has been like in the life of Arch Manning. You don't see him on Twitter. You don't. He's got a protected Instagram account, so you can't just go onto Instagram, follow him, and see what his life is like. He's very protected from social media, and that's not by accident. This has been it's been a plan that has been put in place since Arch has been in 8th grade.
Well, you don't remember the one slip up. I don't even call it a slip up, but when that girl went live and he was in the bed with her, and he's like, "Where you going?" And he's Ole Miss, hotty totty, and he had to say it, and then that's the only real snafu, I guess you would say, in his social media career thus far.
And it wasn't even on his.
No, that's not your fault. Arch, you do what you got to do.
Right. And it speaks to his high school coach, Nelson Stewart, over at Newman, who's been there. He actually played with Peyton at Newman. He was a year younger than Peyton Manning, and I believe was a wide receiver on Newman's team during that time. Cooper obviously was a wide receiver when Peyton was a sophomore at Newman, and Cooper was one of the top wide receivers in the state. Ended up going to Ole Miss and having the neck injury before his football career was over. But they trust Nelson Stewart, right? The Mannings do. They've grown up with him. They know him very well. And he's the one that's really leading this recruitment. If you're a coach and you want to get in touch with Arch, you get in touch with Nelson Stewart, the head coach over at Newman. You make your pitch, and then Nelson will set up the Zoom calls with either the family and or Arch to begin building that relationship. It's a really cool in-depth look. And look, we can debate on whether or not Arch is the number one player in the cycle or whether he's worthy of being the number one player in the country. And all of that is to be debated. But the fact of the matter is that he is. And it's a inside look at just the demand of what a number one player at that specific position too, because I think we've seen kind of the fanfare of what, top flight recruiting looks like. Leonard Fournette out of New Orleans a couple of years back during the 2014 cycle, even Derek Stingley Jr. to a degree during his cycle when he was recognized as the number one player in the country. The demand for them during that point in their life was at times wild, crazy. I mean, just out of control. And I think one thing that has been managed by the Mannings, by Newman High School, is really just kind of keeping this thing as low-key and as manageable as possible.
Which is crazy.
For Arch.
It's crazy.
Really, it is wild. Because to read it, just the measures that they had to take, and it's
the president.
It's nothing. It's nothing wild, but just the foresight that they really had to get out in front of this. I mean, it was going back to a conversation that Cooper and Nelson Stewart, the head coach at Newman, had when Arch was in, I believe, 8th grade. They recognized, I don't know if he's going to be the number one player, but he's going to have people from everybody in the country are coming out.
Well, just the name in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just the name in itself. You're right. But and it turns out he's a player, and everybody is wanting to get him on campus. So it's a great read. Another reason why you should have a subscription over at The Athletic. Friends of ours like Brody Miller and Bruce Feldman, who cover college football, are worthy enough for pledging the commitment to The Athletic. But stories like this really make it worth a while because of the in-depth look at Arch. And look, you're not going to get any quotes from Arch, it feels like, anywhere. I mean, I don't know when we've seen him quoted in recruiting. It's all either coming from people around him, like Nelson Stewart, the head coach over at Newman, or some even other players like Bo Bordelon, who is a offensive line LSU signee and was an offensive lineman for the Greenies the last 2 seasons. It was probably asked more questions publicly about Arch than we have anything from Arch on the record.
I mean, he has 9 he has the Twitter that's verified. He's following 0 people and has almost 10,000 followers. And what we've seen in today's day and age of NIL and how college, how high school recruiting is, this is unheard of. It's unbelievable how under wraps he is. And I'm sure he has a burner.
For sure. Yes.
2-phone Arch?
Snapchat's probably on fire.
Somewhere, some way.
Somehow.
Accessible.
Oh,
yes. All right, remember, as always, we are brought to you by our friends over at RMB Builders, rmb-builders.com. Get in touch with Rhett and the crew over there as they can help you out with a custom design home. They can help you out with anything around the house that you looking maybe remodel. If you need to bring something back to life. If you need to find something.
We did, dongle.
Remodel.
rmb-builders.com. Buy, build, or remodel. They can help you over there.
Buy, build, or bail.
At RMB. We will be back with Nathan Velasquez talking the latest from Top Gun 2, Maverick. We'll get Nate's thoughts here coming up on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.